If there's one player in the NBA right now that you should never, ever piss off, then it has to be Golden State Warriors superstar Stephen Curry. I mean, there was one time when Kevin Porter Jr. decided to poke at the chef when he did this.
That was the defender on the game winner.
Look at Kevin Porter Jr. Look at Steph. He does not like that call. He's still staring at him. Steph is not even going to acknowledge him. I think.
Now, after the staring game and hearing an earful of nonsense from KPJ, Steph just picked his pocket on the other end and drilled a three on his way back.
The Rockets aren't quite at that point yet. Really good defense by Curry. 3-on-2 the other way. He's open, he'll shoot, he'll make.
And apparently, this was just the beginning of his revenge tour, because in the fourth quarter, Steph just kept splashing the net again.
Christopher got it.
Curry on Şengün, he's wanted this all night, he gets it again.
And again.
And that's what you do.
Wow.
And again.
Oh, no.
And again.
Back to Curry, who does it again.
And when it's all said and done, the chef cooked up a 40-piece on them, along with 7 threes, all because KPJ thought he was better than Steph. See, this is what happens when you upset the greatest shooter on the planet, and aside from that, here are some moments when Steph Curry got pissed off and later on took it personal. Alright, let's start things hot with this controversial take by Damian Lillard about the chef.
Right now, with the injuries that the Warriors have been dealing with, and Steph playing with a younger team right now, he's saying that it's tough to get those quality looks right now. It's different than what it's looked like, over the last 4 or 5 years for him. So he's trying to get quality looks and get a clean look so he can make a good one. You don't really have that luxury to just take one from that deep, just to be taking it.
Now, just for context, Lillard said this 2 years ago when the Warriors were crippled with injuries and Dame was low-key coming at Steph in that clip, saying that Steph finally understands how tough it is to get shots that he usually makes while shooting with a bunch of scrubs. And around the same time, some people were also saying that Lillard surpassed Steph as the #1 point guard in the league at that time. So yeah, Lillard definitely had some confidence when he dropped those words. Anyways, after dropping these statements, the Blazers and the Warriors had a scheduled matchup 2 days later to make things between Lillard and Steph even more interesting. Now, amidst all this, Steph didn't say anything back to Lillard and just kept his mouth shut. But come game time though, well, let's just say that the chef just let his game do the talking. I mean, here's how he responded.
They're going to make noise in the West. Curry around Covington, past Nurkic, lay it up and in. McCollum went for 54, but Steph went for 56 by himself. Curry from deep, 50. Draymond finds him another three. Got it! 62!
In response to Lillard's hot take, Steph Curry answered back with fire and fury. He dropped a total of 62 points across 4 quarters while shooting 58% from the field, 50% from 3, while only missing 1 free throw out of 19 attempts. I mean, he was scorching that night after tallying 31 points in just the first 24 minutes of the game. And with that being said, his 62-point performance ranks as the second highest scoring output of any point guard in NBA history, and he was actually just a point shy of beating Jerry West's record of 63 points. When the dust settled, Lillard went over to Steph to congratulate him for his otherworldly performance, and when he got on Twitter, he tweeted this photo as if he already waved the white flag, saying Steph was indeed better than him. And in the post-game, here's what Steph literally said when reporters asked him about his rivalry with Lillard.
Cue the Jordan meme, right? I take all that personally.
Man, that's one dangerous man right there. Anyways, if you think dropping 62 points as a response to a 30-second soundbite isn't personal enough, I bet this next story surely will. So this one happened back in the 2019 Western Semis matchup between the Dubs and the Rockets. The Dubs were just one win away from closing out the Rockets, and in Game 6, they had a chance to advance by beating them on their home floor. Now, as a true and dedicated professional, Steph asked one of the Dubs managers, Eric Hausen, to book the court from 7 to 8 p.m. so that he could practice and fire some shots before tip-off. However, for some reason, Chris Paul got wind of the news and decided to spoil Steph's plan by going to the Toyota Center an hour earlier than Steph. When Steph arrived, he saw CP3 there already, jacking up shots, and when he offered to split the court so they could both practice, CP3 denied Steph's request and kicked him off the court. There's no denying that CP3 was playing mind games with Steph, and I'm not gonna lie, CP3 was actually pretty smart with the tactic he pulled off here. But man, he had no idea that this petty move that he just pulled off would later bite him in the rear end big time. Come game time, CP3's little devious game plan proved to be working as Curry was scoreless in the first half and his shooting slump from the previous games seemed to have rubbed off in Game 6 as well. However, the Rockets thought they had this one in the bag. Steph finally woke from his deep sleep to seek revenge. At the start of the third, Steph slowly revved up by making some tough floaters and layups, and a few moments later, he finally got his groove on from 3 with this corner basket. And in the fourth quarter, Steph just simply took over. Here's a full breakdown of what he did. From being scoreless in the first half, Steph ended the game by scoring 33 points, shooting 9 of 20 from the field, 4 of 11 from 3, along with 11 charities, and out of the 33 points that he mustered, 21 of those came in the fourth alone, including 16 points in the final 5 minutes. As Steph headed back to the dugout right after the game, he let out his frustrations by saying, "Damn, that was savage." Anyways, here's another story that turned personal for Curry. During the post-game interview of Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals back in 2016, a reporter asked KD and Russ if they thought that Steph is an underrated defender. Apparently, Westbrook was having none of it, and so here's how he reacted.
Getting steals, I don't know if that's just...
We can assume that Russ just laughed it off since OKC was still up with 3 games to 2 during the interview. Now, I don't know if Steph knew about what happened during the press conference, because in the following game, Steph just went off, especially in clutch time. Steph took over with 5 minutes to go while the Thunder was still up by 7, and he ended with 31 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists. And ironically, after mocking Steph for being an underrated defender, he actually proved him wrong by doing this at the end of the game to rub it in just a little bit more in Westbrook's face. Now, since we're talking about moments when Steph took it personal, there's nothing bigger than the time he went head-to-head against Paul George. See, it was a close game during one of the matchups between the Warriors and the Clippers, and in the fourth quarter, Paul George suggested something to Steph to make things more fun.
Make it interesting. Let me get one. I give you one, you give me one. I'm from the logo with it.
So, based on that clip, PG wanted to challenge Steph by having some sort of shooting duel from downtown. Well, as expected, this turned out to be a bad idea for PG, because here's how the greatest shooter in the world responded.
A torture chamber, and outside it goes Curry. 3! Another one!
And a couple of seconds later,
ahead it goes to Lee. Back to Steph for the lead.
Curry answered PG's challenge by hitting back-to-back cold-blooded threes in crunch time to send the Clips back home to LA. When the final buzzer sounded, Steph had 45 points along with 8 threes and 10 rebounds to show PG who was the real OG, and ever since that game, I think PG learned to step away from Steph's business. Anyways, aside from PG, Luka Doncic also tried to upstage Steph in the 2022 playoffs, but like most stories in this video, it backfired on him big time. See, during the 2021-22 season, almost everyone was saying that it was Luka's time or it was Doncic's world after he owned the Suns and helped the Mavs to reach the Western Conference Finals again after 11 years. However, most people forget that they have to face the final boss in the playoffs, which happened to be the Chef. And in Game 1 of their matchup, Curry immediately let Luka know that there ain't no Luka magic happening on his home turf. By the third quarter, the Dubs were already slowly pulling away as the lead continued to balloon, and in one possession, Curry sent a direct message to Luka that he was still the real baby-faced assassin. I mean, just check out the look of humiliation on Luka's face right here. In the end, Steph and the Dubs came away with a convincing 112-87 win against Luka and the Mavs. And to add more insult to injury, Curry had a double-double of 21 and 10 to show Luka that he's still got plenty of catching up to do before he could dethrone the Chef.